a 50 caliber machine gun on the top, and these spark reviving endurance, designed and made by Cadillac at the end of 1944, so the system. So that M24 Chaffee goes on to see service in Korea and a number of other conflicts after the war. Now we've also got an American tank destroyer with us. This is the M36 Jackson that's just going to attempt to go through that hole. The Americans came up with the idea of a tank destroyer. It looks like a tank, but actually it's got thin armour that is containing words should they break through or appear on the battlefield. Now it's a nice idea in theory, but it didn't really work in practice. You've never had your right tank engine by the Soviets. It's got a T-55 diesel engine in the back. Now you're seeing now another famous World War II tank, the T-34. This one, the T-34 85mm gun. The earlier ones had a 76mm gun, so hence T-34 76. Size of the gun, the size of the hole at the end of the barrel, 85mm across, hence 85mm gun. The T-34 designed back in the late 1930s by someone called Mikhail Koshkin. The Russians had already got a new heavy tank coming into service called the KV-1. Koshkin managed to get Stalin's design, managed to show him his design for Stalin being a dictator, fancied his words on about it as well, and he ends up approving T-34 should be built. The initial models are starting to go into service in 1940. Very well built tanks at the time, bigger guns than anyone else had, thicker armour. The trouble was for the Red Army, Stalin had one of his Pershings, and that leads to about 30,000 of their officers being executed or sent to Siberia by Stalin. So when the Germans invaded 5 guns. You'll find it easy to learn how to drive, and of course all your spare parts are the same, so you don't need thousands and thousands of different spare parts. Now the F578 has basically got a crane cab and on the top of it. Engines, that cab can rotate the whole way down. Personnel carrier going past the front at the moment. That's an Austrian vehicle. Germany and Austria both ended up building some fairly low electronic tanks. The other thing you can see on one or two of the Simmons, there's little hooks going vertically up the front of the turret, and there to capture any wires that might have, or telephone lines or wires that have been put across a road perhaps deliberately, you can imagine, taking off the head of your commander or your driver, or the loader's not going to be fun. So simple little measures sometimes that we drop out itself in the earth. You're on a charge if you got mud in the end of your barrel, because it means you won't be able to fire the gun. Businessman who was living in Singapore, he gave £6,000 to buy a Mark IV First World War tank for the British Army. And as was tradition in China, it was built a ship or vehicle, you had to put eyes on it to see where it was going. So the tank corps back in the First World War honoured him with and painted eyes on the side of their tank. So that tradition continues. Now the Vickers Marksman, that air defence system there, that can fire 18 rounds a second at each incoming target. So vehicles that match your main battle tank. Generation of tanks like the Kingston was in the 20th century, that means you need a fuel recovery vehicle if it's going to keep up with the tanks going forward. Same as when Challenger came in, it needed a new armoured personnel carrier to keep up with it, that was Warrior. coming on for 100,000 of these in its different variations. T54, 100mm gun, diesel engine in the back, very simple again. To be made in large quantities and classic design. And the T72. If you look carefully, the T72's got a lower profile. Bigger gun, 125mm, they make it a lower profile. By getting rid of one of the two tank turrets, it's a loader. You've got to pick up the big cells, put them in the breech of the gun, followed by a bag charge or a brass case of the propellant. And who needs room to do that? So the Soviets, first of all with the T-64 tank, said, right, let's get rid of the loader, and they put an auto-loader instead. Basically, think of the old payback carousel slide projector. Under that turret there on the T-72, there is a carousel with dangerous ammunition. There's a secondary fire of all the ammunition going up. T-72 still out there in huge quantities, just like the T-54. Chinese copies of Russian tanks, basically. For the T-72, that low, sleek profile it's got, it can pour these nowadays, some smoke screens are really clever. They can hide you from infrared, thermal imaging, all sorts of things, because getting on the
So the third vehicle that's coming on, this is a boat drop
mode. So if you can imagine you're bringing fuel supplies forward, pallets of ammunition, whatever it happens to be, or a vehicle like this short wheelbase Land Rover. The idea behind it, you can fairly quickly, instead of having to have forklifts, etc., the hook on the back basically rises up, layers down the vehicle drives forward, the whole truck drives forward, and then you've got basically the whole of that flatbed is left behind, and you pick up another one. We called it the drop system, and it was